Good evening and welcome to Spooky South Coast. Tim Weisberg here, along with the silent assassin Matt Costa. It's just the two of us. It's like old times.
Like the last time you made that joke.
Right. And I sang just the two of us?
You did.
That was only a couple weeks ago, right? I can't keep track anymore.
I can't keep track.
Where is everybody?
We have episode numbers and who knows?
Isn't this supposed to be like a cast of thousands on the show, or at least 4 or 5?
A few. Yeah. There's a few other people on the show. Yeah.
Where is everybody?
Let me wait.
Wait. Are you gonna go to that wide shot?
Yep.
Yeah. Show how empty the studio is.
It's just us.
It is just us. We have this beautiful wide shot for nothing. Stephanie's with Dustin. We know that.
We do have plenty of gummy worms, and I don't know about you, but I have a stomach ache because I brought all these gummy worms.
Because you ate all the gummy worms?
Well, I brought all these gummy worms, yeah, and there's nobody here to share.
So you've just been pounding gummy worms?
Yeah, I haven't given you one.
You have not?
None.
But to be fair, I was eating a gigantic bowl of soup.
Which is great. It's great. Just two things that go well together.
It's like, how do you prep for the show? I just eat a giant bowl of soup.
Right.
That's what I do. That's the first time, I think, in almost almost 13 years of doing the show. How many? What anniversary is this going to be? 2006, 12th. So this will be our 12th anniversary coming up in January. And in all these years of doing the show, I don't think I've ever had a big bowl of soup prior to the show. But maybe this is the new tradition.
Hey, 2007, 2018.
we don't even know what's going on right now.
It's a year of changes.
Big changes coming up.
Big things.
Welcome to Spooky South Coast, where we talk about the paranormal and food each and every week. And, of course, we also stream live on our YouTube channel. And if you tune in right now to however you watch YouTube, whether it be through your smartphone, your streaming device, your laptop, what else? How else can they get it? Through Roku, all those things.
You
Chromecast.
mentioned the cable box?
The Xfinity cable box is now a possibility. That's a lot of folks are starting to watch us Saturday nights through their Xfinity cable boxes, and of course through the Spooky South Coast app as well. So many different ways to get the show, but you can watch and you can join in the chat. There's folks in the chat room already. Want to say hi to everybody there. We always have a good audience, a good group in there every Saturday night. You know, they talk about what's going on the show, but they also chat back and forth with each other. That's the best part about that. And you never know where the conversation's going to go, and you certainly don't know where the conversation's going to go tonight, because this is one of our Paranormal Potpourri episodes where we are just going to be talking about a variety of different things. We don't have a guest scheduled. We don't have half the spooky crew here. So, as I was saying before, Stephanie is at her event with Dustin Parry tonight. They are at the Blackstone River Theater. And Moniz, I don't know where Moniz is.
He's out in the ether somewhere.
Yeah, he might be working on some sort of secret project that he can't tell us about.
I heard he's hiking the Himalayas.
He's out there looking for those Yeti bears.
Yep.
We're going to get into that for sure a little bit later on tonight. I wish he was here because, we could actually use the guy that has done DNA research on Yeti Bigfoot samples. Not Yetis. I don't think he's done actual Yetis. I don't think he's done Himalayan Yetis, but I know that he's done research on Bigfoot samples here in North America. And so we could have used his expertise, but that's all right. We'll catch up with him at some point. And we will also take your calls as well throughout the show at 508-996-0500, 877-996-1420. Those are the numbers to call in during the show at any time with whatever's on your mind. It's going to be kind of paranormal open lines tonight. If you want to call in with a question, if you want to call in with a comment, if you want to call in and share an experience, we will be willing to listen to all of that tonight. And we're also going to bring up a few topics ourselves as well. I put it out on social media earlier today, and I said, where would you like to see the conversation go? What kind of things should we talk about? And so we did get some responses from folks that way. So we'll probably hit a lot of those topics. Some of them might not be things that we necessarily want to bring up and talk about, but some of them are also pretty good ideas and pretty good questions that we can get kind of deep on. So we will we'll certainly expound upon those throughout the course of the program as well. But again, if you want to call in, the numbers are always right there on the website, 508-996-0500, 877-996-1420. And we'll keep an eye on the chat room as well. But it's just myself and Matt Costa tonight, so we don't have somebody completely running the chat room, so we might miss some things. So if there's questions that you need me to ask, that you need me to answer, don't be afraid to ask them a couple of times if it seems like I'm ignoring your question. You're really going to town on those gummy worms.
I can't help it.
I don't blame
There's
you.
real juice in those.
Real juice in the gummy worms. Like 100% fruit juice? Or like some kind of a juice?
There's some percentage of juice. It doesn't exactly say. It just says contains juice.
Now, where are those from? I don't think I recognize the brand.
I think they're Catawa. I don't know.
Where did you purchase them?
Oh, I got them at a Family Dollar.
Oh, so you know that they're first-rate gummy worms. That's 100% real juice in there.
Those are from Mexico. I got to get them while I can.
Mexican jumping worms?
I got to get them while I can.
It's true.
Before the wall.
Once that wall's up, the gummy worms are. That's actually one of the things they're trying to keep out of the country. Is the gummy worms.
The gummy worm cartels.
right now, there's a Pablo Escobar of gummy worms, just holding up piles of. He's got like 2 huge piles of gummy worms in his hand, saying, "Say hello to my little friends." So
someday I'll be there.
You're gonna
gummy worm card.
You're gonna join the
Escobar.
cartel.
Yeah. You gotta have dreams.
I don't blame you. I definitely will support those dreams, as long as as long as you give me the free gummy worms. If I have to pay for it, then forget it. I know the first
are free.
The first gummy worm is always free. That's how it starts. But we will cover a variety of topics. But one of the things that we've been remiss in doing here on the show, I feel like we should probably take a few minutes now that we're not up against the clock with any kind of guest coming on or anything. We should probably let people know about all the different things that we put into place especially over the last year. I mean, you have kind of revolutionized the way that we've been doing things with Spooky South Coast and Spooky TV, that sometimes we just kind of take this stuff for granted. And we don't tell people on the show all the different things that we want to tell them. And one of the things that you have done to great success this year has been the idea of the spooky clips on YouTube. So sometimes people listen to the show live and they say, I already listened to that show, but spooky clips are a great way to go back and kind of
It goes back to the gummy worms. You get that little piece that's for free.
Right. Exactly.
But in this case, the full episode is also for free.
Right.
But I mean, there's 2 hours of paranormal talk, so I mean, there's bound to be bits and pieces of the conversation that you might miss, or
right.
I got gummy worm in my throat. That you may want to take another. You may like watch it again and see it take it from a different angle.
Sure. And when you're hearing it, like you're thinking in your head, your own thoughts and your own ideas and feelings on the topic. Mm-hmm. And this is a chance to kind of go back and say, well, wait a minute, let me listen to that again and see what that perspective was. But also these things work as great conversation starters. Mm-hmm. So like, all right, we're talking about it on the show tonight and we go back and forth and we might take some calls and we'll get some chat room comments, but you can take that little clip from your, you can take your idea to your Facebook, your Twitter, your social media, and share that little clip out and ask your own friends and followers what they think about the topic and use that as a conversation starter. We're more than happy to help you start conversations as well. So those are highly shareable. That's the idea behind those clips, to share them and keep the discussion going all week long, so that even if you didn't get a chance to comment on it during the week or get your friends to listen in and comment on it on Saturday night, you can still keep it going during the week. And one of the other things with the YouTube stream and the YouTube channel that we have set up is that people can get automatic alerts for when we go live.
Right.
So if, you're wondering, is Spooky South Coast on tonight? Am I missing something? How come when I go to the chat room, I'm not seeing anything? When you sign up you have to subscribe to the channel on YouTube, which we hope that everybody does. And we're at 1.6 thousand followers right now on YouTube.
And also, it's if you're familiar with Facebook, YouTube kind of has a similar system where they have a bell as well. So you can turn that on and off. So whether if you don't want to get like the live notifications, but you just want to follow us on YouTube, you can do that. But if you click the bell, then you'll get the notifications when we go live, when we post up new videos, I think when we have a set, so if we like videos, you can check out like the stuff that we like, stuff like that.
And I want to thank the Paranormal Pirate for sending me some Snapchat clips.
Oh, nice.
While he's watching us on the live stream, he's got the little 3-dimensional cartoon characters, like
oh, great.
There's like a chipmunk dancing on my face.
That's great.
Yeah, so I'd put it up there on the thing, but who knows? I can't guarantee that messages won't come through my phone that we don't want to have on the screen. But yeah, so that's the great thing about it is you can get those alerts. Now, so we have 1.6 thousand subscribers on YouTube.
We had 1,666 today.
Oh,
yeah.
Creepy. So here's what I want for our anniversary and for Christmas. You know, we have Christmas coming up. We have, I think, has Hanukkah started already? I think Hanukkah started already. We have our anniversary coming up at the end of January. January 26th is our anniversary. By that point, I want us to have 2,000 subscribers on YouTube. You think we can hit that?
I think we can.
You think we can hit another, 340 something, 344
yeah.
between now and then? So if you're a fan of the show, go to YouTube, subscribe to the show, get those alerts. And also, if you sign up, you can get alerts from our website as well, too, from SpookySouthCoast.com for whenever we put up new events or whenever we have anything. I know that you share you put the posts up with the show.
Right.
Do you send out alerts for those too when you have a new post up?
Right now I only do it for the new episode.
Okay. So there you go. So you can sign up there as well. So this is a good way.
It's kind of like whatever way you prefer. Some people like it, like the notifications on your on the website, because you get those notifications. Say you're a desktop user and you get those little flags that come up on your in your browser, or if you are a YouTube user and you prefer that way, you get that. If you want those notifications for Facebook, we're all over the place.
Right. We try to put this out as many different ways as we can so that it's easily consumable. Like, we don't want you to have to go around and search. It's cool to have it if you all are, and I'll address, calm down, chat room. I'll address what's going on in there right now. But if, it's great to have everybody kind of filter into SpookySouthCoast.com, but we're realistic. We know that that's not the way that it goes anymore. The internet has changed. The way people use the internet has changed. In 2006, when we started doing this, and for the first, 4 or 5 years of the show, we became all consumed with having like the perfect website. The website was where everybody was going to go. The website was how we were going to get the word out about the show. And things have changed. We've said before, like, the website is kind of, it's still important.
Right,
but
it's nice if you go there. It's our home base.
Right, but it's not the only way that people are getting the content anymore. So we need to be able to kind of pivot to what it is that they want to, where they want to get the information from and where they want to get the entertainment from. And so that's why we're trying to do this. And those of you who have been on this journey with us for all these years, the struggles that we've had with trying to get video out there to you. All the way going back to just the webcam on the laptop, the Manycam, or the Mannycam as we call it. We had all these different ways: Stickcam, Live.com, live streams, all these different Ustream, all these different services.
Justin TV.
Yeah, Justin TV, I think, was like one of the first ones that we used. So all of these different ways that we have done it over the years, we finally think that we've got it perfected. At least we hope so, because we sold the radio station on the idea of using YouTube full time. So now we think we've got good quality pictures. We've got easy access for people in a variety of different methods, variety of different delivery devices to get the content. This is how we take over the world. So there's a conversation going on in the chat room, which they think that we're ignoring, but this is a radio show. This isn't a podcast, just a podcast. This isn't just a streaming show where we can just read questions from the chat room and that's it. Like, we got to be able to multitask here. But I am seeing the points that are being brought up, and the suggestion is that when people in the chat room have questions, that they write them out in all caps. That's cool with me.
That's cool with me too.
I still can't guarantee I'll see it, but I know that when I go back and scroll through looking for questions, if I see something that's in all caps, it'll catch my attention. So if you want to do that, that's fine with me. Absolutely. We'll tell Stephanie about that next time she's in 2018.
I was gonna ask you off air, but might as well do it on air. Do you Is it dangerous? I'll ask the chat room people too. Is it dangerous to bring you guys your conversation up on the screen?
Dangerous to bring the conversation up on the
Like
screen?
on the stream.
On the stream. Wait.
Like the chat room stuff on there. Like what they're talking about.
Oh, like
over
you
the
want
live
to
stream.
take the chat room and
Yeah.
make it a visual on the video stream. I don't see a problem with
Is that
that.
dangerous?
I don't see a problem with that. I think it might get redundant for the people that are actually in the chat room watching the chat room next to the chat room. If that
But
makes
people
sense.
who watch it later might be, because once
you're just gonna eat all
once
those
the-
gummy worms for the show.
There's nobody here to help me.
You're breaking the
Right.
rule of not eating on the air.
Right.
Anyway,
Might as well
sorry.
eat chocolate.
Go ahead. It's I'm sorry. The gummy
We should
worms.
have done it last week because then it wasn't like on official radio.
That's true. We were just streaming only, so we could have done it. But I think that's a good idea, so that people can
Because
kinda,
we're talking about people that are in the chat room right now.
right.
And people who watch it later on YouTube are going to be like, who's that?
And that annoys me a lot with some of the internet shows that I've listened to. Is like they're like, this is how the show will go. Right? Yeah. Okay, Jim. Yep. Yep. All right. Yeah. You know, and like it's when you're listening back, you're like, it doesn't make sense. And these shows have to kind of stand the test of time, or at least for the people that didn't listen to it live on Saturday, they're going to listen to it on Monday or Tuesday. I'm not saying it's got to go on and on forever, but it'd be nice if it at least made sense to the person that listens to it
Right.
one more time or on the Dark Matter rebroadcast or something.
The people who listen on podcasts are totally lost.
Right.
We apologize to you.
That's all right, though.
But we appreciate you.
We were lost ourselves, and we were here when it happened, so don't worry about that. One of the things that we are talking about with coming forward in the new year, and I'm going to throw this out there to the listeners and see what they think, but one of the things that we've been talking about is going back to this idea of getting to the roots of some of these stories. You know, there's a lot of single case studies out there that we could bring to the table. We don't really do a lot of shows where we talk about one specific haunted location and where we say this one location is where we're going to focus on for the entire show, just the hauntings that happen here, just the investigations that have happened here, just the backstory that have happened here. These are ideas that people bring to us, but we always say, I don't know if that would make a whole episode. You know, sometimes if somebody's written a book and there's already been years of research and discussion into it, but we've done them before on like the Villisca Axe Murder House, on Waverly Hills. We've done episodes on places like that before, but I kind of just get into listening to the stories of places and having people come on and share their experiences there. And if at the end of the show, if there's no more explanation to it or no more value from it, we heard a bunch of creepy stories about a place that we all now want to go and visit, I like that aspect of it. So I think we should try to bring in some more of those locations. So if you're listening and you are an investigator that has access to one of those places or has one of those places that you've investigated before, or maybe you're the owner of a place like that, reach out to me, tim@spookysouthcoast.com, and let me know. Maybe doing some of these individual location case studies is a good way to kind of get back to the basics of what we used to do, because we used to do that kind of thing. We used to do a lot of things that we don't do anymore.
I guess so.
Because we got obsessed with technology and snacks. So
can you blame us?
I don't blame us for that, but I mean, there is a lot of other things that we could cover. But as I said, tonight we're going to kind of throw it all open to you. It's going to be what it is that you guys want for the show tonight. Paranormal Potpourri. We're going to take your phone calls. You can call in at 508-996-0500, 877-996-1420. Call in wherever you are in the world. If you're paying attention and listening to the show live now, this is a good time to talk and interact. We'd love to hear from people all over. And you can call up questions, comments, things that you want to know about us. Some of the behind-the-scenes stuff for the Spooky Crew, we can talk about that too. One of the things that I do want to discuss a little bit later on is that Yeti story that was big news earlier this week, that DNA evidence shows that Yetis are really just, Himalayan bears. So we'll get into that a little bit later on as well. We also have the news with Ashley. She's, of course, she's at Stephanie and Dustin's event, but she recorded the news for us. So we will play that in a little bit as well. And we will get to some of these topics that people have posted on social media when I asked the question earlier today about what people would like to talk about. And I'm gonna go around arbitrarily. I'm not gonna go necessarily in the order that they were posted, but I will share these. We'll try to get to as many of these as we can. So the first question that I'm going to go to is actually the last one that was posted on the Facebook thread that I put up. Would you investigate in the daytime or only in the night? And where would you like to investigate and why? Well, I certainly would have no problem investigating in the daytime. The problem with investigating in the daytime is that not a lot of people are letting us investigate in the daytime. Especially like these businesses, these places that we go to, these haunted locations, they're doing their regular business during the day. Mm-hmm. Whether they're a store that's open or they're a museum that's giving tours. So part of the reason why nighttime works is because that's when we have access. Another reason why people investigate at night is because that is when, as human beings get closer to their bedtime, they start moving their minds towards sleep and their bodies as well. So in the middle of the day, if you are sleeping on a normal circadian rhythm and you get up at, say, 5, 6, 7 a.m. and you go to bed at 10, 11, 12 at night, then the middle of the day is when you're probably at your most, distracted. It's when you're at your most productive, but you're also going in a million different directions at once. At night, as we get closer to bed, we start to kind of zero in and hyper-focus on things. And the good part about that is that we are actually moving towards sleep. So as we're moving our brains towards sleep, we're coming out of the alpha waves and getting kind of into those beta waves. So we're positioning ourselves in our subconscious to get closer to that point where we're just going to be moving into the dreamland. And in that way, our mind is kind of opening up to more possibilities. We're shedding the restrictions of the day. We're shedding the distractions of the day. And then the other part as well is that when we are getting ready to sleep and we're shedding those distractions, the rest of our senses are becoming more finely attuned to our surroundings. So it's easier to kind of pick up on things in the night. So I think people are in a natural mindset of better investigating at night. But some of the best activity actually takes place during the day because that's when people aren't paying attention, and when whatever is causing this activity is saying, look at me, I'm going to start banging on the walls or moving furniture or what have you. And so I do think that there's a lot of value to investigating in the day. Now, if you wanted to, you could certainly change your circadian rhythm, and you could certainly change your sleep pattern and make it so that midday could be when you're at your most alert or you're most ready to experience this stuff. But I just don't think it's going to work like that for everybody. But the answer, the long and short of it is, I have no problem investigating any time of day. It's just a matter of when it can work out. Now,
right. Well, I mean, I guess you would have to be like, the time of day doesn't necessarily matter.
Right.
It's kind of goes to like your mood. I think you have to be in the mindset, like you said, or the right mood to be perceptive to the paranormal.
And that's why I say the one caveat to investigating during the day is it's not just yourself either. It has to be everybody else that's going to be around you being respectful of what it is that you're trying to do. So you do need to still have the same access that you would have if it was, 11 o'clock at night. So if you're going to investigate a haunted library, say, and you can go get the haunted library at night when there's nobody around, or you can go there during the day when the activity is the most prevalent, but there's also going to be a bunch of people using said library, then that's probably not so conducive for the activity because you don't have everybody on board with what it is that you're doing. And that's what happened with us when we tried to investigate the Millicent Library. Mm-hmm. We were told that we could investigate, but it could only be while they were open. They weren't going to shut down, and they weren't going to stay late for us or give us any kind of special access. So we had to go when they were open, and it had an effect. We went when it was a slow time, and there was only a few people around, but it still wasn't, we had stuff going on that we couldn't say for sure it definitely wasn't somebody else because we didn't have control of the environment. We didn't have control of the location like you would if it was something that was being done at night and you only had it for yourself. So that's kind of one of the pitfalls of that. And then the second part of that question is, where would you like to investigate and why? And I get asked this question all the time from people. They say, where's the one place? What's your holy grail? What's the place that you want to go to and more than any place else? And of course, I never shy away from saying what that place is. I would love to investigate the Amityville house, no matter what happened.
Right.
But no matter what you believe happened with the Lutz family and what went on, and I think Chris Lutz might even be listening tonight, so hello to him. But no matter where you fall on the story of the Amityville horror, the fact of the matter is those DeFeo murders still happen there. And if you believe Ronnie DeFeo, something forced those things to happen. Something was controlling that family. Something dark and something evil caused those murders. With Ronnie, the likely vessel. Obviously, he's the one that's in jail for it, but he's going to tell you that he didn't do it. But, still, something moved someone to commit those murders. And so that is an actual thing that happened. The Native American history that's all made up, the colonial history that's all made up, the stuff that happened with the Lutz family, believe it if you want, believe it if you don't want, don't believe it if you want, whatever your feelings is on that, it's still a place where those terrible murders happen and where there's some sort of influence. And I want to see what kind of psychological influence there is as a result of that. Plus, I want to see how true these claims are. I want to see if the things that the Lutz family experienced are repeatable. I know that the people who have lived there since have said, nope, none of that stuff's happened. There's nothing going on. There's been no paranormal activity here in all the years that we've been here, but that doesn't mean that it wouldn't happen if somebody was in there looking for it. If somebody was going in there trying to interact with it, which, of course, anybody that's listened to the show before, especially the Jackie Barrett episodes, knows that Ronnie has warned me not to do. He said for me to not look into this because it is looking at me, which still creeps me out more than... I think that's the creepiest thing that has ever happened in the history of the show, is when Jackie Barrett said Ronnie DeFeo, the Amityville murderer, had a message for me. So, but that would be my place that I would want to investigate. I know with you, Matt, you like to travel.
Right.
You like to check out cool places. And for you, sometimes it's just about having access, not even about like actually investigating.
Right.
But just getting into places and seeing, like, breaking down the walls. Is there a place where you would love to go to?
I think maybe Waverly Hills. That'd be a really cool place to go.
I still can't believe in all these years that we haven't gone, you and I.
I don't feel like it's that far away either.
No,
Kentucky? I mean, it kind of is, but it kind of isn't. I mean, it's on our coast.
If we go to Kentucky and go to Waverly Hills, there's enough other things in the area that's not that far. Like, if we're going to go to Waverly Hills, there's about 5 other places that we could hit while we're there. So it's not like it would be a wasted trip for sure. Not that it would be just going to Waverly Hills, but I mean, there'd be plenty of other places to see. You know what is another place I'd like to check out is the Winchester Mystery House.
Oh, yeah. Just
because,
get lost in that place?
Yeah, I just want to go and explore it. Like, I don't even know if I necessarily want to. I mean, I would investigate it, of course, but I don't think that would have to be the only draw. Like, if I went out there for a vacation and I got to, like, just take the tour and wander around and I didn't get to investigate, I think I'd be fine with that. Just going out in there and experiencing it for myself. I'm trying to think of any other places that really... There's not a lot of places that are, like, on my extreme, like, bucket list of, like, I have to get there and check it out. But there's a lot of places that I say I would love to go there and check it out.
Well, I think I would probably want to go to, like, all the big big mysterious places,
like the prisons, the asylums.
No, I mean, Stonehenge, like Easter Island,
the weird spots.
Right.
Yeah.
The 7 Wonders.
Yeah, I'd like to go to a lot of those places. Yeah, like just like the Georgia Guidestones. Just go check those out. Just to see these at Coral Castle down in Florida. Just did you go to Florida?
I've been to Florida,
but not recently.
No.
Okay. Because I know that you went across country a couple of years ago, but
Right.
You didn't. You went across. You didn't go down.
I avoided Florida.
Well, I was just wondering if you've ever been to Coral Castle, since we talked about it on the show.
No, but it's an interesting place.
Yeah, I would definitely like to check that out. Key West.
Mm-hmm.
Go down there. Go down and visit Robert the Doll.
Yep. You're like, oh, I just want to investigate some sunny beach somewhere. You know?
No, now you sound like the Ghost Asylum guys. The Haunted Towns crew, like, oh yeah, we want to go to Hawaii and check out some of the ghosts there.
Hey.
But
to find a cursed tiki totem on the beach.
But there are plenty of places where, you know, it would definitely be cool to go, but it's not so much that like I have to. It's not like it's an overwhelming, consuming desire. That being said, if anybody wants me to come out to any of their events or anything, I'm for hire.
I think there's those two categories. There's the where do I want to go and paranormal, like investigate with a paranormal team, and then there's there's the legend tripping aspect.
Right. Where do I want to actually have to go and do work?
Right.
And where do I want to just go have an experience?
Mm-hmm.
And that's I will go have an experience anywhere. I'm definitely down with legend tripping at any given time. And of course, you know, the Paranormal Pirate brings it up. I haven't even been to Anawan Rock yet. So I probably should remedy that since it's 20 minutes away and I've never been. Never been to Dighton Rock.
No, you're like, it's a rock.
I think I've been to Witch Rock in Rochester. Witch Rock? Witch Rock. That's right. But I don't remember if I definitely have been or not.
What is it about the rocks? There's always a rock. Like every town, every...
do you want my armchair folklorist version of it?
We get 2 hours.
So here's what I'm thinking. Here's why I think that these rocks become places that draw attention and gather stories, because they're not going anywhere. So when you have this big rock in the middle of nowhere, or, you know, in the middle of woods, it's not that big of a deal. But when civilization starts popping up around it and it has to stay, then stories will pop up about it. And I'm talking about places like, you know, Witch Rock. You know, look, just for an example, I hate to use this example on the radio because I feel uncouth doing it, but in Wareham, Cremisa, have you heard of Jeannie's Rock?
No.
I don't know if I should really get into the story on the radio of what Jeannie's Rock is, but all right. So there's this rock out in Cremisa, out in the woods, where supposedly there was this girl named Jeannie. Okay. And she went with a bunch of guys out to the rock. Right. And anything that you think that some guys could do to some girl, to a girl, that she would be, you know, willing. It wasn't against her will. She was down with us. She was the leader of the party, and so everything happened, and it all happened on this rock. So it's Jeannie's Rock. So people go out there, and you know that's the story. Okay. But is any of this true? Probably not. But the stories come up because the rock isn't going anywhere. So they're going to keep telling these stories. So I think that a lot of those legends and lores of rocks have to do with that. But then you also have your true haunted rocks, or your places where rocks have a certain power, like a Dighton Rock, like an Anawan Rock, like America Stonehenge in New Hampshire. You know, these places where I think that there's that geometric aspect to them, where they have an energy to them, and so they have not geometric, geological. Jesus, Tim, is this your first time talking about things? So there's that geological factor of it, and the energy of the earth coming through them. I think that there is a power to be had in some of these rocks. So,
pseudonym in the chat said that it's a pagan fertility symbol.
Oh, absolutely.
Which I think that's the first time I've heard that.
Well, I think Jeannie's Rock was pretty fertile, at least. I can't believe we've never heard that story.
No.
Wow.
No.
I mean, I'm
a Wareham-ite too.
I could take you out and show you where it is.
Hey, now.
I didn't say we could use it. I just said I would take you out and show you. But I mean, in
Onset, there's that the rock that's on the beach that was I don't know if it exactly has a name, but it was used by the Spiritualist Church. Yep. And I believe it was used prior to that, and I think that's why they used it.
And we went to
sermons and things.
We went to last year. We were in Bridgewater. for our event that we did there, and we were investigating War Memorial Park, and they had Pulpit Rock, where the Reverend Keith gave his sermons.
So they're just kind of like they're just like the monuments that no one had to build.
Yeah, it's
basically.
It was like a gathering point.
I know, because I mean, well, partly too, they're probably they're landmarks. So I mean, people remember those, and to remember those, a good way to remember a landmark is to come up with a story for it.
Now, when you were living, you lived in Marion for a while,
Mm-hmm.
and when you were living there, did you ever go to the Rock there, to Minister's Rock?
Yeah, my house was right there.
Yeah, you were right there.
Yeah.
So I mean, I assume like taking the dog out and stuff.
I didn't actually go to the Rock, but I did go to the cemetery that was next to it.
So I mean, that's one of those places where that's.
I think the Rock was just in somebody's backyard, or something.
I know
something
you can.
like that.
I know you can get to it. I know. I know you can walk out to it if you want to. But that's just one of those things where it's a place where people gathered, and
right.
So it became one of those marking points. So I do think that there's a lot of rocks that just get things attached to them, get stories attached to them. But there's also a reason why, not just for the fact that they're good marking points.
Are most of these rocks like kind of located or situated near water? Is that like,
I'm not
is
sure.
that a theme? I'm just throwing stuff out there.
I'm not sure. One of the theories is that,
we should have had David Couchford on.
I know he is
the rock guy.
He's the rock of rocks. But there's one theory, and I don't know enough about ley lines to really look into it. But there's one theory that a lot of these mythical rocks are actually on the same ley lines, and that these ley lines are running through the rocks. So that could be part of it. I don't know. I find rocks fascinating. Like these, like it doesn't even matter like if they have a story attached to them. Like when I see a big rock, I just think that it's cool. I mean, remember when we were driving to Hartford and we saw a turtle rock?
Yeah,
we just like ran out and took.
Was it a turtle or a frog or something?
Frog or something? Yeah, frog rock.
Yeah,
yeah.
We were like, we gotta stop.
Gotta take a picture.
Gotta stop.
Also, we were new to Instagram at the time, so we were like, yeah, this is perfect for Instagram.
We gotta up our game.
But yeah, so there's a lot of rocks like that, a lot of things like that. Let's take a look at some of the other questions that popped up here on my... I know this is fascinating radio to listen as I go through my Facebook. But again, if you want to call in, 508-996-0500, 877-996-1420. Those are the questions to call in and share with us. Any questions, thoughts, comments, stories, experiences that you want to share with us. Going back into the post here. So here's a question from Mike. Mike wants to know, what is the best equipment you have used to investigate with? And this is where we kind of have to have the little caveat of using, our little disclaimer where the best equipment that you can bring on an investigation is yourself. That being said, let's talk about some of the external equipment that you can bring with you on an investigation. I think that really, the simpler that you can keep it, the better. The more convoluted stuff that you have to set up and learn to use and all that stuff, I think while it might look cool, I think it can also lead to a lot of misinterpretation. I know that you're not a big equipment guy. Like when stuff happens with the equipments, you're like, okay, but it's not enough to convince you.
Right. I mean, I like gadgets and gizmos and things like that.
Oh, of course.
Stuff that lights up.
But it's not. You don't look at it as great evidence,
right? I mean, if you compare it to like something like a car, where the more gadgets and gizmos that you have on a car, the more things that are going to go wrong with it. It's a kind of the same thing in the paranormal. The more gadgets and gizmos that you have, the more false evidence that you could accumulate. So might as well. I mean, if you don't necessarily care about capturing that evidence to prove to the world that ghosts are real or prove whatever theories that you want to prove, then just go with your gut.
And well, I take my gut with me on every investigation. That's why we always have snacks. But the thing that I've noticed over the years, and we talk about it at all of our events, is that people get so engrossed with the equipment that they bring because they kind of want to justify the money that they've spent on it. You know, you're going to go out and spend hundreds of dollars for all of this stuff. And so you're going to want to take it on every investigation, and then you're going to want to make sure that you use it. And then you're going to wonder why. Well, I'm having an experience, but nothing's showing up on my $400 device that I just bought. You know, and I think that that's doing a disservice to the activity, because maybe the activity isn't enough to register on those. Maybe it's not meant to register on those. Maybe it purposely knows what it can affect and what it can't. We don't know that. So I think that to get fully invested in the equipment is a bad idea, because you're losing that personal connection to the experience, which is what it is all about. And I think that there has to be that human side of experiencing it for it to actually happen. It can't just be a blip or a bloop on a device and that's it.
Right. I mean, if you're focusing too much on the lights on your K2 meter, you're gonna miss the full blown apparition that's behind you.
Absolutely. And we've seen that happen, where people have been staring down at their equipment and missing what's right in front of their face.
Like there's a ghost looking too. What are you looking at?
Right, exactly. But with that being said, you know, some of the devices that I have to have with me on an investigation, I mean, I always bring my phone with me because I have it everywhere that I go. And I will use my phone recorder if I want to record EVPs. Just throw it into airplane mode so you don't get any stray signals, and turn that recorder on. And I say this to everybody on an investigation. You know, they want to know, what recorder should I buy? How much money should I spend on a good recorder? Listen, use the one that's in your phone, because if you have a phone that's relatively new, you've got a better recorder in that phone than you can go out and buy off the shelf at Walmart. Now, I'm not saying it's as good as the high-end, you know, the Zooms and all those things that people go out and buy, these really high-end recorders. Some of those Sony ones that we've seen, those are obviously going to be much higher quality. But in terms of, like, what are you going to buy to go out and record EVPs, your phone is damn good for that. And one of the things, like, I have the Galaxy S8, and one of the things that I've noticed is that spatially, the way that it plays back the audio now, it's almost like it's surround sound. Like, I can tell where everybody was in the room by what's going on. So it's certainly worth just whipping that out and using that. In terms of cameras, I use the camera that's in my phone. I don't bring an external camera with me anymore, because it's just another piece of equipment to lug around, another pair of batteries that could drain. Right. If I had a fancy camera like you have, or, you know, some folks that have brought, I'd use that. But
I mean, I don't know about using your phone as like a paranormal camera, just because of just the size of it and everything. Even though, like, the phone cameras take amazing pictures now, they still have such a small sensor that you need quite a bit of light for it to capture everything. So you might get some, like, false positives in your phone.
It's a good
compared to like a good higher end camera that has a very large sensor. Good
point. One of the other things that I always bring with me is, you know, I will bring a K2 meter with me, because it's the simplest way to just check an EMF fluctuation. Is it precise? No. Is it as good as a Mel meter? I mean, as good as a tri-field meter? No. But it's something that will just at least let me know if there's some kind of a fluctuation, and if there's something that's actually giving me the fluctuation. So I can actually follow the path with a K2 meter and say, okay, all right, here's an alarm wire. This is what's doing. You might want to take the chat down before. Yeah, it's too late. It already went.
That's fine.
So there's,
Sup.
Huh?
Sup.
Yeah, what's up? That's all we can say. So there's, people just think they can say anything in Trump's America. So there's that aspect of it, is, you know, you can use it as kind of like a debunking tool, kind of like as a discovery tool to see exactly what it is that's going on. So it's definitely worth having that as well. I can't tell you that there's one, like, go-to thing that I use to have some sort of an interaction, because none of these devices are made just for that. They're made for other purposes that we're just applying to ghosts.
Right.
So I can't say, you know, if you go out and buy this, you'll definitely be able to experience activity. I will say that the big three to have is definitely, you know, some sort of recorder, some sort of camera, and some sort of light source, because you're walking around in the dark. Yeah. Right. So you want a flashlight, but you could also use that for investigating as well. You want to have something to record the audio and to record at least pictures and hopefully video as well. But that's just to document the experience of what it is that you're doing too. It's not just about finding anomalies. It's about having a record of what went on during that investigation so that when you're going back and thinking about, hey, what happened? What was this? You can go back and look at that and say, okay, well, that's where I banged into the wall and didn't realize it.
Right.
Because that happens to me all the time, especially fumbling around in the dark. So there's certainly some validation in spending the money that people spend on equipment. You know, you will get some pretty good stuff if you go out and buy this equipment, sure. But I also think that it's not a necessity to have all this stuff if you do want to go out there and do this stuff. Just the most important thing to do is, no matter what equipment you are using, know how it works. Know what kind of false positives it can give you, like Matt was saying. Know what kind of things can happen, and know what kind of light reflections can happen. Know what kind of internal noise, you know, your phone might make. Know that if you don't have it in airplane mode and you get and it's not just you, by the way, that has to be in airplane mode. It has to be everybody around you. Because if somebody else gets a text while you're using your phone to record, you might get some sort of a noise or a vibration in there that gets picked up. So it's important to have all of this stuff kind of work together and go together. At least it's not as bad as it used to be. Remember how much our cell phones used to set off everything we were using? Oh, right. Like if we got a text during the show, like we'd get that noise in our ears. And like, we don't get that stuff anymore. So
even here, before when we had the old video set up, if someone had their phone too close to the wires, if they got a text, it would go over the stream.
Right.
That's why we would get some hiccups sometimes from, and then the chat room would blow up and be like, oh, there's noise coming through.
Right. Which
it's usually somebody's phone that was they put on the wire or something,
and somebody that was usually sitting right next to you.
Right.
Like right next to you. That has two phones,
right?
And both of them go off constantly during the show.
Right.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. So, see, this is the stuff that we just can't explain to people all the time during the show.
That's fine. This is like a behind the podcast.
It is. It's like it's definitely our behind the music episode, a spooky South Coast, and then it all went downhill.
Then things changed forever.
Right. Nobody stays on top forever, and spooky South Coast never even got there to begin with.
Just had one too many gummy worms.
The gummy worm addiction was real, and it was tearing the spooky crew apart. Sure. All right, well, we are coming up on the news, so we will take a break. When we come back on the other side, we'll have the news with Ashley. We'll also take your calls as well, 508-996-0500, 877-996-1420. I look like the most relaxed, like walrus right now on the video stream, but you can watch the video stream on SpookySouthCoast.com and on our YouTube channel as well. We'll have a lot more fun coming up in the second hour as well. I'm going to try to get my hands on some of those gummy worms as well. Nope. Now that my soup is... Oh, all right. Well, I will try to distract Matt long enough to get some of those gummy worms. When we come back, we'll have some more paranormal discussion coming along on the other side as well. So stay tuned for more Spooky South Coast coming your way in just a bit.